Just quick history about me. So my kind of career path started as I've had several different jobs over the years and worked at several different careers. Always worked around real estate for some reason. I was in mortgage lending at one point in my life. I worked in a construction company for a point, and as Eric said, I grew up in Michigan, and about 20 years ago I moved to Chicago and decided, well, hey, I watch a lot of HGTV, I flipped a couple houses, I love doing all that stuff, so it makes sense to get my license, right? So I went ahead and I did that, got my license, and I went to a company, and they said, okay, here's your desk, here's your phone, make something happen. Okay. They gave me a couple days of training and basically learned that, okay, with no sphere of influence, nobody to call on that phone, and not having any idea what I was doing, I wasn't really going to get too far with that. So quickly changed careers and ended up working for a retail company for about the last 20-ish years in all sorts of different various roles. And then this summer, Eric and I have known each other for several years, and this summer my job ended and I was doing a little bit of consulting work, and he said, get your license again. I said, been there, done that, have no interest in that. He said, trust me, things have changed. It's wildly different now. All right, I'm going to trust you on this. So I went ahead, I got my license and went to work with Realty of America with Eric, and it is a wildly different program now with all the advancements in technology and things of that nature, like Eric was telling you about with the prospecting process now, where we actually use a lot of automation and things like that to make it much easier to connect with people. So it's been a much better experience. We've got, as he said, we've got an appointment later this weekend or on Saturday to talk to someone about listing a house, probably going to be over $1 million. So that's just sort of my quick overview. So I'd like to hear a little bit from you guys. So I hate standing up and droning on and on. So give me a little bit. What do you guys want to know? What do you want to know? Are you interested in what in real estate and becoming realtors? People want to be house flippers, things want to like that. So yes, sir.
I'm not really interested in real estate as it is. I'm more interested in the technology that comes with it.
Okay.
When you're talking about automation, like what has changed within the realtor environment, is it just the automation when it comes to looking for prospects, the data collection, or does it also go into looking for properties? Like finding the availability. Another question I guess I have is like, how do you know when to build something, right? Construction like kind of varies, so it's like, how do you know the consumer base that you're building it for is gonna buy it?
Okay. All right. Yeah, lots of questions in there. To answer your first one, I'll combine it. Yes, the technology is so much better. Everything from the prospecting and how we interact with customers that we eventually turn into clients to how we search for properties. So for instance, when I'm working with a buyer client, it's so much easier now to find properties. I mean, the MLS was always there, the multiple listing services, I'm sure everyone's familiar, seen Redfin and Zillow and things of that nature. When I first got my license, that was much more agent privatized, I guess is a good way to put it. You didn't have as much of that availability to the public. But now it's grown so much that it's also kind of helpful, because when we work with a buyer, I mean, you've probably all been on it, probably just for fun. You shop around and look at properties and things of that nature. If you haven't, do it. It's a really great resource. So those are the things that we're finding is part of it's as we start to work with our clients, that they're a lot more prepared and have a lot more knowledge going in, and then we can use our expertise and the things that we know about the market side to really help them out. So that's really helpful. And again, with listing, the same idea, where we can see those comparables. They can take what they're seeing on Zillow or talking to neighbors to see what they've sold and things of that nature, but then we can take what we know from behind the scene and market trends to be able to market that property to ultimately we want people to either pay the lowest price when they're a buyer, right, or make the most when they're a seller. So that's our job, is to really find that and have that expertise. And then your last question was more on the construction side.
Let me rephrase that. I'll change it for another one. How do you think the individual broker has changed? I feel like back in the day you had to rely more on like a bigger infrastructure. I feel like technology's been advanced. You can be a broker without having an association to a big firm, yet still be able to get in the game a little bit. I don't know. Do you think that's changed, like individuality as a broker? Do you have more power now, or do you feel you still depend on large firms?
Yeah, I would say yeah, because if you think of it this way, knowledge is power, right? And resources are power, and we
Yeah.
have a lot more of that at our disposal now. So, for instance, ROA is a cloud-based brokerage. So before, literally, I had to go and sit at that desk with that phone, or we had what was called floor time. And if you aren't familiar with floor time, basically, we would have scheduled time where we would sit at a desk where people would call at random, and you basically had to try to convert that person on the phone to try to make them a client. So yeah, it's much better now, much better resources, much better in terms of the technology things that we use to make us better at our jobs. So,
Where would you find a place to improve it?
to improve
The technology that you have now.
the technology, right now I would say I'm not the most techie guy, so I will say that what I've seen now versus what I've seen is so many light years ahead that I'm really happy with what I'm seeing. We're starting to use some other sort of networking things like Follow Boss and things like that that will help you sort of basically keep your database, keep your contacts, keep things fresh so people are hearing from you from periodically, so you don't somebody doesn't just fall off because you haven't heard from them in a month or 2 months or something like that. It's like, boom, I've got a schedule, and it goes, boom, you haven't talked to Steven in 3 weeks or Sarah in 4 weeks, so you need to contact them again and just touch base. So a lot of that stuff that we have now we didn't have back then, so it makes it so much nicer.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, sir.
I'm from a city called Monterrey. They are focused a lot in industrial real estate, especially warehouse. My family has a business of warehouses, and I'm really interested in that business, especially here in the U.S. Because I want to learn more of how they are doing those things in Chicago, especially. So, will you see the warehouse real estate industry going forward here in Chicago, and what metrics do you use to predict how they're going to do in the next years?
In terms of commercial real estate as a whole, you're
Yeah.
asking about. Now that's not really my area of expertise, to be honest with you. So now we do have folks in our office that they deal with that specifically and can give you really great intel on what's going on, what market trends are looking like on that side. I deal with mostly residential myself. I don't know if Eric, if you've had some experience or any insights into that with commercial.